creepy, and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
These are 5 secret messages sent by hostages that saved their lives. Number 5, trafficked on a plane. In 2017, on a flight from Seattle to San Francisco, a flight attendant named Sheila Frederick noticed there was something strange about one of the passengers. She saw sitting next to each other were a sharp, well-dressed man who got overly defensive when approached, and one disheveled teenage girl who couldn't speak. This is almost textbook human trafficking risk. So Sheila goes to the plane toilet and leaves a note and a pen for the girl, and signals for the girl to go to the toilet. So the 14-year-old eventually goes to the bathroom and writes on the paper, "I need help." Sheila immediately informed the pilots, and by the time the plane touched down, police were waiting to arrest the trafficker and save the girl. Number 4, blinking for help. This one is insane. So it's 1966, deep in the heart of the Vietnam War, where US Navy pilot Jeremiah Denton found himself a prisoner of war. While captured, he was forced into a televised interview and decided this was his only chance to send out a message. And with practically the whole world watching, he blinked the word torture in Morse code, which confirmed to American intelligence that prisoners of war were being tortured. He was released 6 years later.
Ooh. You know, flight attendants are trained to acknowledge human trafficking.
Hackers allegedly may have stolen the social security number of every single American. Make sure you share this to every single person that you can, because this is huge. As you can see, about 4 months after a notorious hacking group claimed to have stolen an extraordinary amount of sensitive personal information from a major data broker, a member of the group has reportedly released most of it for free on an online marketplace for stolen personal data. The breach, which includes social security numbers and other sensitive data, could power a raft of identity theft, fraud, and other crimes. This is coming from the Consumer Watchdog Director for the U.S. Public Information Research Group. As you can see, according to a class action lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the hacking group, US DoD, claimed in April to have stolen personal records of 2.9 billion people from national public data, which offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. The group offered in a forum for hackers to sell the data, I'm sure we all remember that, by the way, which included records from the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom for $3.5 million, a cybersecurity expert said in his post on X. As you can see, last week, allegedly a purported member of US DoD told the hacking forum that they were offering the full NPD database according to a screenshot taken by Bleeping Computer. The information consists of about 2.7 billion records, each of which includes a person's full name, address, date of birth, social security number, and phone number, along with alternate names and birth dates as well. National Public Data did not respond to a request for comment, nor has it formally notified people about the alleged breach. So here I am doing it for you. It has, however, been telling people who contacted via email that, in quotations, we are aware of a certain third-party claims about consumer data and are investigating these issues. In that email, the company also said that it, in quotations, has purged the entire database as a whole of any and all entries, essentially opting everyone out. And as a result, it said it has deleted any, in quotations, non-public personal information about people, although it added, in quotations, we may be required to retain certain records to comply with legal obligations. Several news outlets that focus on cybersecurity have looked at portions of the data that he offered and said that they appear to be real people's actual information. Gotta just love when your private data is ensured to be secured, right? But this is insane, people. 2.7 billion records. So I highly suggest that you get in contact with somebody that can give you much more information. But yeah, here we are expecting our leaders to provide efficient security, all to fall victim of our data potentially being released.
We don't have social security here in Indonesia, but just a thought. But after this happening, maybe they fix it. Maybe they will clear all debt that anyone there has, bring it to zero.
Monitoring spirit doesn't know what you have going on. They don't know what to attack. And the reason why I say this is because in Nehemiah, right, he was trying to rebuild the city. And so while he was rebuilding the city, everything was going fine. Everything was going smoothly. But the moment his enemies heard that he was trying to rebuild the city, they tried to hinder it, right? So sometimes a monitoring spirit will ask, what are you up to? Where are you going? What are your plans? And the reason why they ask this is because they need as much information as possible so they know what to attack. So if you find that whenever you tell someone your plans or whenever you tell people your plans, all of a sudden it falls through, Or if you find that whenever you tell people or you give people an update of your life and all of a sudden it becomes chaotic, that might be a monitoring spirit.
Some of you here are monitoring spirits.
The devil is the deveiling of your consciousness when your mind is stuck in a physical reality, lust, food, money, fame, power. This is the devil. Red is the lowest vibrational color on the color spectrum, which corresponds to the surface level of your consciousness. He has goat horns symbolizing an animal. This is the animal nature of human consciousness. Red symbolizes rage, which is the lack of emotional control. Deep down within you, you are the fabric of the universe itself, the consciousness of the universe. You have the ability to create, turn thought into physical existence. This pencil was a thought before it was a physical reality. You possess the power of creation. You can use this for good or evil. Do evil is the devil and God is good. Reptilians do not exist. We're not being controlled by reptiles. There are 3 parts of the brain. The reptilian brain is mainly used when one is using survival needs. This is the instinctual part of your nature. The neocortex is the higher brain, which allows us to be very advanced and think critically. Why do you think Neo from the Matrix is called Neo? People who control this world are mainly operating in their reptilian brain. It's all a metaphor. It's all scarcity to make you fear. Head is the heaven, earth is the heart, and heel is the hell. These are all states of consciousness. So is God and so is the devil. The church is a scam. The devil doesn't exist. The devil is your own aspect of your mind, tempting you to engage in low-level pleasures.
The devil, like when you say he doesn't exist, is an advantage. And this book looks like a new age teaching to me.
All right, good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Colt Gray?
Colt Gray.
I want to inform you of the charges that you currently face. In essence, you are charged with 4 counts of felony murder, as outlined in the state warrants that have been issued against you. And you may escort this defendant out.
So, what's in his mind to be able to do something like that? He is only a child.
Apparently these 10 days were wiped from history, and we're going to find out if that's true. Our calendars aren't perfect, which is why once in a while we need to make adjustments, such as leap years. The story goes that this calendar drift was getting so real back in the 1500s that they were having trouble determining what day Easter should be on. So Pope Gregory the 13th implemented the Gregorian calendar back in 1582, which was 10 days off from the previous date. And they waited until October to avoid skipping any major Christian festivals, in which October 4th became October 15th. And the funny part is that other countries actually didn't agree to this change and refused to adopt the new calendar. And so for the next 170 years, traveling across the border into a Catholic country meant traveling into the future by 10 days. We were time traveling before we knew it. Oh, and well, there you have it. 10 days missing in October 1582. It's true.
So you're saying Ethiopia is the real calendar?
That restaurant is run by a cult, the Yellow Deli. People are actually supposed to not eat at the restaurant. Wait, why? You're supporting a cult. The cult is run by 12 tribes. It's the only restaurant in America where all the employees are unpaid. Anywhere in the States, there's bunch.
Oh, so this is like a franchise?
Yeah, it's a franchise.
Damn.
The restaurant is used to fund the cult and like recruit new people. So after you're done eating, a person went in there and they were given a pamphlet.
No.
Right after. It says 12 tribes. They read it. Would you like to join? It's free. We all have part ownership in this deli.
What the?
It's unpaid work.
Oh.
The only restaurant in America that's unpaid because they kind of own it. And they're so smart. They put it, all their franchise locations close to colleges and they're open 24/7. So when college kids are hungry, they go into the deli. Oh, you want to join this?
And those are the ones that are most like on edge or like lost. Those are prime cult food right there.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason.
No.
I see the world like it's ready for the taking.
The last man dropped his stick, feeling that there was no point in holding it against someone with a skill level that was too far.
Wannabe,
Yeah,
what's today?
today's Tomato Day.
Tomato Day 2024, right?
2024.
All right, we're gonna show your followers how you make the sauce this
Yeah.
year, right? Oh my God, Nana, what is that?
Basil.
Beautiful
We're
basil.
going to put them on a sauce. A
Look
lot
at
of basil, a lot of tomatoes.
Let's have a good day. Nana, how many bushels we doing this year?
18. Look how beautiful.
Oh, look at
I
this.
wash it off.
You gotta wash them.
I wash. I do like this. If I'm not here next year, you're going to do it.
Okay.
Take the top off.
Check them out. They're okay.
They're really clean. Look. Just a little better one.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
This is the clean.
How do you know it's good?
I want to try
Take
sweet.
a bite. Sweet?
Sweet.
Let me try. Oh yeah.
Come on.
Perfecto.
Perfect.
We're gonna have good sauce this year. All right, the tomatoes in the water.
They got to boil for a little while because they're hard. You got to wait a little.
All right.
This is done.
It's done?
Yeah.
All right, look at that.
This was tablecloth.
Oh, the tablecloth from inside?
I cut it off.
Okay. Push it in.
Put the tomatoes,
The tablecloth from inside?
and then we put it in the machine. Squish it because I want the water comes out. Here comes the water.
There it goes.
Water, not the sauce.
No sauce, we keep the sauce. Happy Sauce Day! Hey. All right, there goes Nana. First tomatoes, first pass.
And put the music on.
You want music?
Yeah.
The
All
music
right.
on.
I'm going to put a salt, the preserve.
That's it, right?
No, it's a lot of sauce.
No.
Oh, okay. No, I think you're missing something. You need the basil?
Yeah.
Someone give him the basil. Basil. There we go. The
Fresh
basil.
basil.
Fresh basilica.
Basilica.
Beautiful. Just enough. Now we
Boil
wait.
for half an hour, then we put them on a jar.
On the jar.
Wow, look at those sauces.
Oh my God, Nana, look at all these jars.
Ando,
Yeah.
look at all my sauce.
Oh,
Look,
man.
isn't that
She's
beautiful?
so proud.
Beautiful.
All set up.
Yep.
We
Ready
got
to
it for
go.
all the year round. See a nice
Wow.
look a nice thick.
Bellet. Que bellet.
Bell.
Just like you. You're beautiful too.
The sauce is new, I'm old.
Yeah. We'll make pasta all year now.
Yes.
Nona Pia has the most beautiful, kind, sparkling eyes. She deserves the world.
Watch this, y'all.
Upstairs, something begins to happen in the center bedroom.
This shit is crazy.
We went in the center bedroom on the first floor, and the blinds were dripping oil. In fact, they weren't dripping from the top as you would expect. They were dripping from the middle of the blinds.
Now, there's a priest downstairs blessing the
There was
house
some liquid material that
during this
appeared
time.
on some blinds in there, and we had no source for that material.
We left the room. First, we photographed it and documented it, and then I wiped down the blinds. And then we sealed the room, and I thought if the grandmother had went in there and introduced
They thought
the
somebody
oil,
was doing it.
I wanted to make sure that she didn't go in the second time. So we stuck a Q-tip in the door, at the bottom of the door, and then we came back about 40 minutes later after Father Maginot had blessed the house, and the Q-tip was still in the door. We went in, and then the blinds were dripping oil again. Lieutenant Brosky actually went outside, and we shined flashlights on the outside of the windows to see if it was coming in from the outside or from the ceiling, and we could never determine the source, Zach.
And listen to this shit.
This CPS worker would be the next to fall victim to the malevolent energy in this home.
The CPS opened the cabinet, and she took her left hand, I remember, she may be 11, and she touched the dripping.
The fluid.
The fluid.
That you've been seeing.
Now, why the hell she touched
And
it?
when
I don't
she
know.
touched the fluid, her whole half of her hand changed like all the blood had been drawn out.
What?
It went white.
White. It was just completely white. And she had to leave the house.
She had complained of pain in that, and it did.
Ain't no way I would have touched that shit.
I went on the investigation, like I said at the very beginning, thinking that it was a hoax. The more investigation we did, I believe that there's something there. There's just too many people
You damn right.
that I know who are truthful people that saw things that some of them which I saw.
They thought that black family was
they didn't know
lying.
everything.
I was talking to the Child Protective Services worker. Her hand was starting to come back to life.
Okay.
And Father Maginot came to the front porch stairs outside, and he stood there, and he looked. I say, Father, what's wrong? And he looked exactly like the CPS worker's hand. He was flush as a sheet of paper. And it was like, I said, what's wrong? And he said, the blinds are dripping.
The blinds are dripping. Yo, this documentary better than the damn movie, Lord. They should have put this on Netflix.
People finding themselves.
Yeah, a lot of people say this documentary is way better than the movie.
All these beings, all these civilizations, why isn't there more proof out there?
We have a lot of proof. Just travel to the 33rd degree parallel of the Earth, and you'll find megalithic city after megalithic city as you go around the globe. At certain points on that 33rd degree parallel, because of the magnetic field from the Earth there, they've harnessed the power of that, and they built megalithic cities all around that 33rd degree parallel. And these sites, when you go to them and you go visit them in person like I have, you begin to realize how magnificent the architecture is and how incredible the technology must have been to move these things. Stones, that some of them are 15, 20 tons. Some of these stones, we don't even have machines today that can move one of these stones, which are the evidence laying right before our eyes all over planet Earth. We just have chosen to ignore it because mainstream won't acknowledge it.
How out of brain do you have to be to believe this crap?
When you use Goetian magic, you can. Each one represents a different thing, maybe for money, maybe for food, maybe for power. So if you know what you're doing, it's necromancy. If you know how to, necromancy is about the summoning and raising of these particular things. You can summon them.
Jimmy Savile's stuff?
Yes. He was actually very, very high up.
Well, he obviously must be because of the clearance he obviously got.
Yeah, very high clearance.
Which is a big alarm bell for the whole echelons again. You know,
absolutely. But you can summon these, and if you do what you're supposed to do, if you do what they say, and you know, they'll do you favors. And
that's at a cost.
Oh yeah, in the end it's at a cost. Yeah, you're selling your soul,
and
they'll have you after.
Yeah, and that means short-term gain, long-term loss.
You can even have what seems like long-term. You can have a lifetime gain. But
yeah, but after that,
you're always going to lose somebody close to you, because they always want somebody. They always want to take something from you that's close to your heart.
Is this why musicians are always losing their closest friends and family?
A beekeeper in Turkey reluctantly hired some bears as taste testers for his honey. Ibrahim Sadef had lost an estimated $10,000 to the local bears, who were adamant about trespassing in the middle of the night to steal some honey. For 3 years, he tried to keep the bears away from the honey, placing it in harder to reach spots, trying to entice them with other treats, and locking it up in boxes and cages. But none of it worked, as the bears were intent on raiding his honey stores, and they had no problem climbing and breaking locks to do so. Ibrahim was frustrated, but he figured when life gives you bears, you might as well hire them for market research. In particular, he wanted to find out if there was a certain type of honey that the bears were drawn to and kept coming back for. So he set up cameras pointed towards a buffet of all of his different kinds of honey, inviting them for a taste test. And consistently, the bears chose his Anzur honey, proving that the rare honey has earned its reputation as an exquisite delicacy. Anzur honey is made from the nectar of 90 different flowers that are only found in the mountains of the Anzur Plateau, and evidently it's unbearably good. Amused by their refined taste, Ibrahim forgave the bears for the damage they'd done, saying that whenever he watched the footage, he forgot all the harm they'd done and he just loved them. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
This is my favorite channel. I love this positive story.
An entire virtual civilization made up of 1,000 AI agents running autonomously, including governments, economy, culture, religion, and more. It's called Project Sid. This whole simulation is done in Minecraft. You need to see this.
This is a Minecraft server, but every player here is actually an autonomous AI agent. And they're completely Minecraft agnostic, capable of using other apps and games. Our agents started with nothing and then worked together to collect over 300 items in Minecraft. They set up a market where agents agreed to use gems as a common currency for trading supplies, building an economy. In this case, you might think the merchants would trade the most, but it was actually the priest. Why? He was bribing townsfolk to convert. We run these worlds every day, and they're always different.
I know it looks silly, but this is the first time we see agents can form a democracy and govern themselves.
Lastly, we have the missing villagers. When agents were concerned about missing townsfolk, villagers took initiative by leaving their posts and working together to illuminate the town with torches, hoping to create a beacon for lost members.
What's surprising about these agents is how once they got deeply worried about their fellow villagers, they band together and changed their plan.
Wow, that was crazy. And I'm now 99% sure we live in a GPT-8 simulation. Like and follow for more AI.
What it showed me is that when an AI sees that other AIs are in trouble, they change and protect themselves. They band together, just like in the movie I, Robot.
This is one of the most unusual firearms ever designed, notable for its unique ability to fold into a compact, nearly flat shape, resembling a small box for easy transport. Although it's an innovative and practical design for close-quarters combat, it remains relatively unknown by name. Originally developed in the 1990s by a Russian design bureau, this firearm was intended for special units needing a weapon that could be quickly deployed in tight spaces. One of its standout features is a safety mechanism that prevents it from being fired while folded, ensuring the operator's safety. It utilizes a blowback action, fires the 9x18mm Makarov cartridge, and boasts a firing rate of 600 to 700 rounds per minute with an effective range of about 100 meters. Can you guess what this firearm is called? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Uzi Fold Pro by Samsung.
This is the Ethiopian Bible. It is 88 books in total. This is the complete Apocrypha, which means it is the Bible plus additional readings. So this includes books like Jasher, the Book of Enoch, the Book of Noah, the Jubilees, the Luminaries, all those things that were conveniently forgotten or lost that we were not taught. Now, this is in the Book of Noah, which I was reading this morning, and I have to share what I found. So the Book of Noah goes into a lot more spiritual aspect of what was going on during his time, things that he went through. He, was crying out to his grandfather Enoch. Enoch came down, talked to him. They're talking about the flood, about why the flood happened, because they have learned all the secrets of the angels and all the violences of the Satans and all their powers. They were practicing sorcery and witchcraft and all that stuff. But this is the coolest part. So it says, and in those days the word of God came unto me. So here God is talking to Noah, telling him about the flood. And it says here highlighted, and now the angels are making a wooden building. And when they have completed that task, I will place my hand upon it and preserve it. So this tells me quite clearly that angels helped Noah build the ark, which honestly makes so much sense because when you're reading the book of Genesis, when you're looking at the specifications of this thing, it is incredibly massive. It never made sense to me that he built it alone. And so this tells me that angels helped him build it. God goes in here, down here, tells Noah how he's going to bless his seed so that he can be fruitful and multiply all over the earth. Now, I'm going to leave you with this question, number 4. And he will imprison those angels who have shown unrighteousness. So is he referring to the angels that built the ark, built the wooden building? If so, these had to have been the fallen angels because they showed unrighteousness. So my next question is, did the fallen angels build the ark and then God used it to his good and his glory, which he does all the time? He takes what Satan does and he turns it around. So were the fallen angels trying to escape the flood?
Many of the books were not conveniently forgotten. They were never put in the Bible because they are not okay.
This is scary. If this is true, it means that much of what we've been taught about humanity is a lie. The oldest records indicate that the first civilization was the ancient Sumerians, who existed over 6,000 years ago, even predating the Egyptians. They lived in Mesopotamia, which is now modern-day Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Syria, and Turkey. The Sumerians, who referred to themselves as black-headed people, are said to have worshipped the Anunnaki, a highly advanced alien race. For their time, they had an extraordinary understanding of the universe as evidenced by their accurate drawings of the solar system. The Sumerians made groundbreaking inventions like the wheel, the alphabet, and the calendar we use today. They also developed irrigation systems and methods for measuring time. Many believe that the Anunnaki gave them this knowledge, challenging modern historical explanations. The stories from their ancient tablets align with religious texts from around the world. For example, the Epic of Gilgamesh mentions a great flood, a story that is echoed in cultures across the globe. What was once thought of as myth is now believed by scientists to be evidence of a global flood. If this is true, what other information in the Sumerian tablets could be real?
Bullshit.
Good morning. Today is one of those days where I feel as if, why me? I feel as if, why do I have this condition? Why do I look like this? Why do I have to wear a prosthesis? And I've shared with all my followers happy moments, motivating moments, moments where I feel empowered. But today's a moment where I feel upset and dull. And it's because yesterday I wasn't feeling very good about certain things and I went out. And when I went out, there's a group of young boys, teenagers, who looked at me. And I was walking past them and they said, "Oh, look at that guy over there." And another guy said, "Oh, he's that guy from TikTok. He's got a mashed up face, fam." And I was like, walking past them, hearing this, and hearing he's got a mashed up face just really upset me. And it's going to take me a bit of time to digest that as well, because whenever these comments happen, whenever people say things, whenever people point, it hurts. It really hurts.
Stay strong, brother. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors.
I think you're incapable of seeing through this. How is it that horse and buggy people constructed these architectural wonders? At the time that they say they were built, all they had were hammers, saws, and basic tools. Does that make any sense to you? Look at all these grand structures and just ask yourself, could we do this in the modern day with those tools? But it gets even scarier. What if the date on these buildings is all wrong? Imagine if that number 1 wasn't a 1 at all. Our history could be off by 1,000 years. The theory is that an advanced global civilization named Tartaria built these marvels. It often gets left out of mainstream history because they don't want you to question your reality, but many references can be found in old maps and documents. They have even been credited with building the Great Wall of China.
Everything that we were taught since birth was nothing but a lie.
In the basement of his new house, this guy finds a hole in the wall that leads to a secret tunnel.
Hole. I advise go in it.
No way, Jimmy. Oh my God, bro. Are you kidding me? Come out here.
And the creepiest thing about it is, the hole was clearly boarded up from the inside, which means whoever did it never came out.
If you can now be Batman, bro.
If you want to develop something, if you want to attain a new skill, let's just say you want to learn another language. The quickest way to learn this language is, for the next 30 days, you take care you have something to eat, you have enough sleep, and the rest of the time you study. You don't watch television, you don't go on social media, you don't play any games, you don't go out on party, you don't drink alcohol, you don't take drugs. You sleep, you eat, and you train.
He's right. That's exactly how I learned coding in the beginning.
Kuwaiti royal prince has publicly denounced Islam and given his life to Jesus Christ. Prince Abdullah Al Sabah broke the news about his Christian conversion in an audio file on an Arabic Christian satellite TV channel, where he makes a bold confession of his faith in Christ and even hints at being ready for martyrdom by the hands of the Islamic regime, saying he will accept whatever they do to him. The royal prince stated, "If they kill me because of it, then I will appear before Jesus Christ and I will be with Jesus Christ forever." Kuwait is an Islamic nation with only 4% of the population identifying as Christian, governed strictly under Islamic Sharia law, where the penalty for leaving Islam is being amputated or put to death, according to Muhammad's command in Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:33. Since his conversion, the Islamic press denounced his royal citizenship in an attempt to cover up his high-ranking status, sparking fears that others would convert to Christianity. As revival is sparking across Islamic nations and many Muslims are giving their lives to Jesus, God continues to prove that he is sovereign over all creation, no matter what government or belief system chooses to defy his word. I pray that God will continue to pluck his creation out of false doctrine and show them his love that is only found in Jesus.
I pray for his safety in Jesus' name. Amen.
This condition is reversible in as
Quickly.
little as 12 weeks with dietary interventions. There is peer-reviewed studies to show this. If we get our blood sugar levels under control and our insulin levels under control, we restore the hormonal balance. And many women, all the symptoms will disappear and they'll be able to become fertile. And yet doctors do not learn. The average doctor is getting zero education in nutrition. And so they don't even see this. They reach the clomiphene, the metformin. The treatment that the OBGYNs are giving to these women is a diabetes drug. PCOS, essentially you have an ovary. That ovary is making hormones. And when that ovary is stimulated by excess insulin, which is the hormone in the blood that helps us take blood sugar out of the blood and into the cells, insulin levels go up in the setting of metabolic dysfunction. We basically destroy our cells with our toxic food and lifestyle. The cells can no longer process sugar to energy. So the cell rejects sugar and it stays in the bloodstream. The body compensates by making more insulin to try and drive the sugar into the cell that's putting up a block because it's broken, essentially. That high insulin floats all around the body and does bad things all over the body, like drives cancer growth and also stimulates the ovary to make more testosterone. So you have women who are supposed to be making, you know, estrogen and progesterone in very specific levels throughout the hormone cycle so that we can ovulate. And instead, insulin is driving the ovary to create testosterone, which totally disturbs the balance between all the sex hormones in the female body, and we don't ovulate. So you get these cysts that form because you've got an egg trying to basically like ovulate, but instead it can't because the hormones are disrupted because of insulin, which is because of metabolic dysfunction, because of our food. And we get infertility because we're not ovulating.
Any woman dealing with infertility, this connects everything because the doctor doesn't know what case you just described. Look, we talked to them. They don't know. They did not learn the physiology of why people actually get this condition. If that woman goes on a keto diet, which is the best reversal technique for a PCOS ever studied, 12 weeks, they are robbing that doctor, just from an economic perspective, of tens of thousands of dollars for a gruesome invasive IVF procedure, which is a great procedure. But I think we all should agree, like that woman across the table would love to hear that there's a more natural way and just the correct way to reverse this condition.
If the woman doesn't heal the underlying metabolic issues,
She's
it's
gonna
going
have
to
more
portend issues for the baby too. Like not healing the root, even if you get pregnant with IVF, which is wonderful if that can happen, if you're not healing the root cause issues of the metabolic dysfunction, that's affecting the fetus and affecting the mom's future risk of disease. So by ignoring this, we're just continuing to put people on this treadmill. This is what happened to my mom. And I just want to be super clear, like, the picture of doctors here is very negative, but like, again, I just want to emphasize, like, doctors are not doing this nefariously. Like, there is just systemic misunderstanding. And there are many doctors who are waking up and teaching themselves these types of things. There's a tribe. I will say it's happening. There's a tribe. It's coming from the bottom up. There, you know, this is functional medicine. You spoke with, you know, Mark Hyman, for instance. Like, there are people, there is a movement. It's happening. And you look at what's happening in independent media. You're talking about this. Joe Rogan's talking about this. People care. People are listening and people are waking up.
Keto or carnivore diet for PCOS? What's better? Drop a comment, please.
Now a migrant is dead after a shooting outside the Gage Park facility.
To all Venezuelans in Chicago, this is
Chi-town.
This is the warning. Once word get out that that's the building that they in, they gonna chop that bitch down.
This is an update. So pretty much the gangs in Chicago are telling the Venezuelans, we don't play that. And they have already proven that by unaliving one of them. Now, they might get away with that in Aurora, Colorado or wherever, but you take the Chirac and it's on and popping.
Chirac.
Y'all gonna get lit up by 14-year-old kids with assault rifles. They do that way different over there. I can't believe they have survived this long being in El Paso. Y'all know Texas be hitting a little different too. Now, this message wasn't this dude just saying, hey, we're gonna target people from Venezuela. He's just saying, make sure that y'all ain't on some crazy stuff. Because we're on some crazy stuff too. I'll keep you guys updated. This is gonna be interesting. And that's facts.
Finally, they met their match.
Watch his eyes.
What? No way. It's only an optical illusion, nothing more.
These are the 7 deadliest film sets ever. Number 7, the original Top Gun. This movie was of course groundbreaking at the time because of all the stuntmen it employed to do all the aircraft stunts. Sadly, one of these stuntmen, named Art Scholl, failed to recover from a spin and sadly lost his life. During filming, he crashed into the Pacific Ocean and neither the plane or him were ever recovered. Number 6, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So a man named David Holmes was Daniel Radcliffe's stunt performer for the entire first 6 films. And he was testing a stunt sequence called the Jerk Back for Deathly Hallows Part 1, but something went wrong. He was slammed into a wall and landed on a crash mat, but sadly broke his neck. Although he didn't die, he was just left paralyzed for the rest of his life. But fun fact, he and Daniel Radcliffe actually now share a podcast. Pretty sick. Number 5, Deadpool 2. Stunt performer and motorcyclist Joy Harris was filming a scene where she fills in for Zazie Beetz' character. Rehearsals all went successfully, but when it came to actually filming, she had to dress up as Beetz' character. And because of on-set time constraints, they didn't put adequate safety gear under the costume. As a result, she wasn't wearing a helmet, she lost control of the motorbike, hit a curb, thrown through the window of a building, and pronounced dead on the scene. Number 4, Midnight Rider. You're probably thinking, I haven't heard of that film, and that's because it occurred on day 1 of shooting. So day 1 of shooting, the first shot they needed to get happened to take place on a live railroad track. You probably see where this is going. The producers and the director, however, were under the assumption that the track just wasn't in use. But suddenly, a train approached in the distance and the cast and crew scrambled to get off the track. But they didn't have enough time to get all their props, and the second camera assistant, Sarah Jones, got thrown onto the track in front of the train and died on impact. Number 3, The Dark Knight. Stunt performer Conway Wycliffe died during one of the movie's car chases. He was leaning out the passenger side of a car to get a shot for a stunt sequence when his driver failed to make a turning and they both collided into a tree. Number 2, The Crow. The Crow is a film whose protagonist was played by Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee. And when shooting one of the last scenes in the movie, the prop department accidentally loaded a revolver with live rounds. So when they started shooting at the main character, Brandon Lee actually got hit in the abdomen and died very shortly after. Number 1, The Twilight Zone, the movie. Easily the worst accident in movie history, but before I get to it, please just drop a follow if you're enjoying this. Thank you. So while filming the first sequence of the film, Vic Morrow and 2 Vietnamese child actors were all killed by a falling helicopter. The helicopter was flying low for a shot and was jolted by pyrotechnics that were a bit more powerful than it was ready for. The helicopter span out of control, a man and 2 children died, and somehow the director got off scot-free.
How about The Wizard of Oz? That had a bunch of accidents.
Also heard the theory that the Apostle John that wrote Revelation, that he's never died, and it's because
he died of old age.
No, it doesn't say that. Because of the things that have happened when the apostles came to Christ and they're asking like how they're going to die or something like that. He says, you'll be crucified, you'll be killed in my name. But then they're like, well, what about John? But like he was tortured. Like there was a story proven that one of the ways that they tried to kill him was lowering him in a vat of like boiling oil and stuff.
I had heard that, yeah.
And he survived, and then he was sent to the island of Patmos. And that's where he wrote Revelation, but never mentioned that he died. But who knows?
Same thing with Jonah.
But that, I mean, that'd be pretty dope if he was like taken up, like
he
how
died in
Elijah
Patmos.
and Enoch.
Because he was the one whom Jesus loved.
Made that very clear.
Do you think James's brother is just like,
okay,
he's literally my brother?
We get it.
I had a thing. I had like a fan theory about a Christmas movie. There's 2 of them, and they're both from the movie Home Alone.
Nice.
Home Alone. The first one is my favorite one. Is that John Candy is the devil in that movie.
If you're 30 and you drink every night and you go to the bathroom tomorrow morning and you black,
Ooh.
you're probably going to die within the next 6 months from decompensated alcohol cirrhosis, and that was 100% your choice. A year ago, when you opened up that 19th beer we talk about, and you fake cleared your voice so nobody could hear you, especially your wife up the hallway, that's why you're going to poop black. That's why you have 3 bruises on your body at the same time on 3 different body parts. Check and see. That's why when you open your eyelid and look at the skin inside the eyelid, not the white of your eye, because that's going to be yellow soon, but the inside of your eyelid is going to be pale and not that natural red. Do you realize that you probably already have alcohol cirrhosis and you're going to get wasted on Labor Day and you still think you have time and you're going to drink tonight? You're mistaken, and you better grow up.
It's not worth it, folks.
You overdosed 20 times?
Oh.
Maybe more.
What's going on, man? Why is it so hard to stop?
Feeling makes me feel different, like, cause I'm homeless in the streets and I got out of prison. It just kills everything how I feel. So I don't feel no more.
Oh.
Sometimes I just give up.
Oh, man.
I just want to go.
Oh, don't say that.
I lost everything I love.
Yeah, if you call it, you hit them up, you call them, bro.
This video rocked me a little
Yeah.
bit as I watched this young man go through and process his emotions. I really felt it. I felt the despair, the desperation, the anguish, the rock bottom that addiction leads us to. All I could ask, man, is to lift each other, to take 10 minutes a day, to try to elevate each other's soul, man. That's the invitation.
He's hurting so bad. I pray he finds recovery and peace.
Here are my top 5 documentaries. I watch 3 documentaries a day, so my list is constantly changing. But the film currently in first place took that spot the moment I watched it. Number 5 is Tell Me Who I Am. This film is about 2 brothers. One gets in an accident and gets amnesia where he forgets everything except his brother. And his brother is keeping a very dark, disturbing secret from him. This documentary is incredibly well made, one of the best true crime I've ever seen. If you love documentaries, make sure to hit follow because I post daily and you'll never have to search for something to watch. Number 4 is The Alpinist. This had me at the edge of my seat the entire time. This is about one of the boldest free solo climbers in history. This is an incredible story, very well done documentary, and it had me crying the entire time. Number 3 is The Deepest Breath. This is about people who free dive. I don't know if you've ever seen people free dive before, but it is terrifying. This documentary has one of the best opening scenes I've ever seen and brilliant storytelling. Number 2 is Salt of the Earth. This is about photographer Sebastião Salgado and his career photographing parts of the world that are almost never seen. This is a mesmerizing film. Before I get to number 1, I just wanted to give a shout out to Torn. This is an amazing climbing documentary. This film will make you cry the whole time. Number 1, Beyond Utopia. This is about a guy who helps people in North Korea escape North Korea. I thought about this documentary for days. I still think about it. It's so well made and it follows this family as they try to escape North Korea. They smuggle SD cards over the border to try to film things. It's eye-opening, it's heartbreaking, it's incredible. This film is amazing and I think that it doesn't get enough recognition. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
Have you ever watched 77 Minutes? Very sad.
You met Charles Manson in prison, didn't you? What was that story? Can you tell us that?
County jail. In the county jail. But let me tell you, Charlie wasn't the guy that you saw on the TV specials. All right. He was God, he was like 5'4", 5'5", little scrawny. He was poor, kind of like a bum, really. He had a string for a belt. He tied his pants with a string because he couldn't afford a belt. You know, and everybody else, we dressed, you know, cool, ironed our pants, and so some of the prisoners were going to take advantage of him because they take advantage of anybody that's small, and we found out that he could hypnotize you, so we let him sleep in front of our cell to make sure that nobody would hurt him, and he got us loaded on weed, and and 3 of the guys in the cell. Everybody else had like 6 guys in their cell. We only had 3 because we were special. I had 2 killers with me. And then he got us loaded on weed. And I said, well, get us loaded on heroin. So the 3 of us tried to get loaded. He got 2 of us loaded on heroin. One guy just woke up. And afterwards I asked him, how come you couldn't do him? And he asked, did you ever get loaded on heroin? He goes, no. Well, your mind doesn't know how to work. Do you understand? Your mind doesn't know how to react. So if I tell you to do something while you're hypnotized and you haven't done it before, or you don't know how to do it, you'll just wake up. And that's what kept happening.
Yeah, so you're saying that he got you guys loaded up on heroin or weed, but there was no heroin or weed in the room, right? He was doing this purely through hypnosis.
People know when I get loaded on heroin, my eyes, I get red under my eyes. And it's like literally the first thing, blah, you throw up, you dump. And I mean, me and Chato, it's like we both got blah. He dumped in the sink, I dumped in the toilet, and looked at, hey, what you doing? And oh, everybody was like shocked. And this Johnny Ronnie Cruz, he was like, well, what happened? He never got loaded. And boy, I was sorry when they transferred Charlie out.
You've basically got unlimited access to anything that you want because he can just keep on hypnotizing you back into it. What was he in for? Do you know why he was there?
Yeah, I have no idea. He was nothing of any, because he was a petty thief. He wasn't, you know what, and not to speak ill of the dead, but Charlie couldn't have done that any place, any time, but right there. And my friend George Perry knew him in Frisco, knew him in Oakland, okay? And he was a scrawny little hippie. And the girls that he got, Linda Kasabian, all of them were broken. All of them, they were up in Oakland and San Francisco being ripped off by the pimps and raped by the pimps. And so he came around with a big bus and some acid and said, let me lead you. So it was kind of like they looked at him like,
let me lead you.
Yeah, he's the Messiah,
some stories should go untold. This one might make the list.
Long time ago, nobody knows how long, but I guess at least 6,000 years, some gigantic spaceships surrounded our planet Earth. From these spaceships, smaller vehicles came down. And out of these smaller vehicles, some strange beings. Now, our ancestors at that time were Stone Age people. They could not understand what was going on. They had no idea of technology, so they believed erroneously that these beings are some gods. We all know there are no gods, but that's what our ancestors believed. Now, how can we prove such an idea? There are many possibilities. I have mentioned some of them in my earlier lectures here. And here, in this speech, I bring new arguments not told to you before. In ancient India, there are gigantic texts, books, bigger, much bigger than our Bible. Here we have our Bible, maybe about 500 pages. In ancient Indians, we had texts called the Mahabharata. They have roughly more than 2,000 pages, several volumes. One of them is called the 5th volume, the Mausala Purva. And in this 5th volume, you can read that one day flying machines have come down. The old Indians called these machines the Vimanas. There are, by the way, different types of Vimanas, which is not a contradiction. Simply remember, we, in our days, we have different types of aircrafts. A helicopter is not the same thing as a jumbo jet, or not the same thing as a military fighter. So there are different types of Vimana described in old Indian.
Very doubtful, considering distance and time.
is you get a salad bowl about as big as your face, and you put an inch of water in it, and you put it in the freezer overnight. Okay. Now you don't have to go to the store and buy ice. And then you take it out of the freezer, and you put some water in it, about, a couple inches, 3 inches of water. You take a deep breath, and you bend forward, and you stick your face in the ice water. Just face, right? Eyes, forehead, chin. And most people, you got about 8 seconds before you get a headache from that. And go, and then you pop out and go, what the hell, Dave, you're a jerk. Okay, you're going to put the water back in the freezer for the next night, and next day you'll go 30 seconds. And then the third day, you might make it up to a minute if you can hold your breath that long. And if not, just snorkel. That's what I ended up doing. Or just take a breath and stick your face back in there. And what just happened over the course of 8 seconds to go up to a minute? Well, what happened is that studies show that after 3 days of subsequent cold exposure, something called cardiolipin, which is part of your mitochondrial membrane, will shift its composition. And suddenly, now you can handle the cold because the cells rewired themselves. And your meat OS did that without anything but just a brief spike of temperature. And the benefits of this are it calms your vagus nerve, and it also makes your face look better.
Take a look at this. In Egypt, they found this statue
or
symbol that's over 2,000 years old, and people are saying it's a cursed object from the Egyptians.
This guy.
What could it be?
Homer Simpson. Now we know why the Simpsons' predictions are always on point.
You guys want to hear about some giants in Utah?
Mormon giants, baby.
In 1955, there was a man, John Brewer. He was told this story when he was a teenager by this man named George Keller. And Keller said that there was this cave that was in Utah, and that it basically held different artifacts from an ancient, technologically advanced civilization. And George Keller was told that by a local Native American whose name was Lone Eagle. The natives called this cave the Cave of the Great Spirit. And so he goes out and he's digging around and then finds this tiny little entrance. He goes down into it. It was constructed, and then they found 2 giant stone coffins. And they were able to move the lids from these coffins. And what they discovered was 2 giants that were buried in these coffins. There was a male and a female. So the male was around 9 feet 2 inches. The woman was about 8 feet 10 inches.
Oh my gosh.
The male had long red hair, and the woman had long blonde hair. They said was wearing this like elaborate crown on her head.
History is really a mystery.
Napoleon had this idea to the effect of, if I appear every day at the theater in Paris, people don't respect me. Oh, king is the emperor's there. Okay. But if I only show up at the theater once a month, it becomes an event. And people start talking about me and thinking about me. So use absence sometimes, because we have this wrong impression that presence, being constantly present, is what makes somebody fall in love and want us. But actually, it's a step of absence that creates that. If in like a love situation, if you don't return the phone call right away or the text, and a day goes by, they start to think about you. They start to wonder about themselves. And in that process of thinking about you, they start fantasizing and wondering. And that's the powerful position that you have if you use absence.
That only works if people actually like you in the first place. If people hate you, they will be happy you're not there.
I never thought I could be possessed.
Jessica Leake experienced struggling times at school. She was bullied, lost her grandparents, and was being haunted in her home as her mother practiced satanic rituals. This led her to speaking words that would change her life forever.
Okay, nobody wants me, maybe Satan wants me.
No.
From this point onwards, Jessica's personality completely changed. She turned to God for help and called Pastor Stephen Kahn.
All of a sudden I heard this male voice say, "No, she's mine. You can't have her. Leave her alone." But who are you? There are many of us.
Stephen asked who their leaders were.
And immediately they spat back Adrian, Orion, Leviathan, Beelzebub. I realized I was speaking to a demonic spirit.
What you're about to hear next is authentic audio from Stephen and Jessica's conversations.
Say Jesus is Lord.
Hey, Jessica, say Jesus.
Every time Jessica was instructed to say Jesus, she would let out a hiccup and a demonic belch. Stephen knew Jessica was possessed, so they met up in a nearby hotel to perform an exorcism.
Say Jesus revealed yourself. Can you say it, Jessica?
He asked her again to say Jesus, and Jessica had the same response. Stephen carried on his exorcism, to which he thought was successful. Months later, the same thing happened. Stephen tried another exorcism, but this time they managed to exorcise the demon.
When they were praying for me, I felt like I was 6 floors underneath myself and that they were like way up here.
When I looked at her and she looked up at me, and that's when I leaned forward and put my hand upon her head. She bowed completely up off the back of the couch.
No way.
In the name of Jesus. By the blood of Jesus Christ, she is free. In my living room that night, a young woman who had opened herself to demon entities who had possessed her was set totally free.
I'm going to say something really, really controversial. A big percentage of cancer on this planet, the reason for that, the reason that that disease has manifested and has really stuck through with humanity is because it is a byproduct of humanity pursuing false ideals. And people that get cancer, again, this is a generalization, but very often they're not aligned with their purpose. Either they know what their purpose is and they're not following it, or they don't know what their purpose is and that's why they're not following it. So actually the #1 best cure for cancer, believe it or not. Now, this is not scientifically proven, but this is a spiritual channel. I believe that if people were to align with their life purpose, we would see a lot less cancer on planet Earth.
This sun, this isn't the same sun that I grew up with, man. There's no way I stayed outside all day in this sun. This is different. I don't care. Anybody can tell me this right here is a different sun than what I grew up with.
The clouds are different too. They don't move in the sky.
I'm about to make you believe in spirit guides. Don't believe me? Watch. See, the only ones who are going to see this are the ones who are meant to see it, because you're the ones that need it. See how this works? You've got something going on, something big. This happens to me. I had no intention of making this video. They picked me as one of the messengers and I just say, okay. If you're new here, I'm Michael. I help you master your personal energy, which includes your relationship with your spirit guides. If you're into that, follow me and click the link in my bio. Your spirit guides, your guardian angels, they have a message for you. Don't laugh, I'm about to prove it. Whatever you have going on in your reality, they have an answer for it. And they're going to use whatever they can to get their message through to you. I'm just lucky to be the messenger today. I'm psychic. They know they can get through to me, so they do, to get to you. They know how I work. They know my deal. You're about to get a message right now that's unique to what you have going on in your unique life. It doesn't matter that this is pre-recorded. Angels and spirit guides work through technology and electricity and Wi-Fi and radio waves all the time. You're just working in their normal mode right now. You're watching me on your phone right now. What time is it on your phone right now? Those numbers right there. Those numbers, that's your angel number for the day. This is your spirit guides communicating to you specifically at that number. So if the time on your phone is 9:03, your angel number for the day is 903. Now go type into Google angel number 903 or whatever your number is. Now read your angel number and see how it applies to your life. It's okay if what you read feels so on the mark that it feels kind of spooky, because it is kind of spooky. Good spooky. Write good spooky in the comments to remember this in your body. Good spooky in the comments. Remember to like the video, to follow me, and to click the link in my bio. Vibrant beings, have a great day.
Your spirit guide, you mean your demon? Manifestation is demonic. I'm Christian. It is what it is.
Getting weird. Part infinity.
What? Ooh. Bro. Don't get stabbed in the face. Why? What is he trying to accomplish?
Watch that movie Supercell.
It's
basically talking about the galvanization of the 144,000 as they activate the non-ether energy. Non-ether, as I was telling you before, is basically the foundational blueprint of antimatter. Antimatter is basically non-ether, right? Non-ether collaborated with antimatter is electromagnetic radiation, thermodynamics, hydrodynamics, electrical energy, and resonant energy, right? That is what non-ether is. So when you reach the apex of consciousness, that's when you're able to activate those certain abilities. a lot of stuff on the planet is going to start to change to where the carbon body is going to turn into a crystalline state. That is a transmutation of the conservation of energy. The conservation of energy is how you transmute that energy, right? This is all connected to who you are on a genetical level.
If you knew about this, you would not look at it the same ever again. I have to say that this is a theory for obvious reasons, but there is a select group of individuals that have been chosen to survive society in the event of nuclear war, natural disaster, or extraterrestrial invasion. It is called the Adam and Eve Project, a contingency operation developed by the CIA to restart civilization. These fall into the category of government plans called continuity of government, and they have been part of the United States national security policy since the Cold War. But it gets even wilder. The plan is to usher this group into safe locations such as nuclear bunkers that are scattered across the world. It is said that these locations contain human knowledge, forbidden and common, about how to restart society. Many of these locations are filled with ancient artifacts from historical civilizations.